Hey folks, it's Manninen from the website TahoeTrailGuide.com. Today I'm going to be talking about our body position while skate skiing. I realize that I've already discussed briefly about our body positioning in the previous video, the introduction to skate skiing, but I wanted to take a little bit closer look today. Body positioning, regardless of art or discipline or sport that you play in, is always like where we start. It's the starting point. If you've ever done any kind of jiu-jitsu or martial arts with submissions and joint locks and that sort of thing, there's a mantra that's used by all of those practitioners, and it's always position before submission. And that idea is, unless you're in this proper position, it's going to be really hard to execute the technique properly. When trying to find that ideal body position on cross-country skis, think of it as finding our maximum or extreme ranges and then just trying to locate a position within those ranges. So I talk about having a neutral spine, not having our backside sticking out, not hinging over from the hips like this, not having our pelvis thrust forward, hunched shoulders, nothing like that. But these are kind of the extreme positions, right? If we just do this with our body, at some point we're gonna find somewhere in the middle is gonna be where we have that neutral spine. We also then want to lower our weight. Now we don't wanna go into a full squat, and we don't wanna be standing straight-legged either. So again, we can think of it somewhere in the middle of our two extremes is where we want to be. And this is easy to find because this is generally considered to be a pretty comfortable position to be in, because again, we're not in an extreme position. So neutral spine, dropping our weight, and then allowing ourselves to hinge forward to the point where we have to catch ourselves. I have a ski pole here to help prop me up as I find that ideal position. So neutral spine, drop our weight, hinge forward. As I'm hinged forward, we want to have this feeling of being on the front half of our foot. Is that the ball of our foot? Sure, you can call it that. We just want to be light on our heels. We want to imagine that there's a cracker underneath our heels while we're skiing, and we don't want to squash that cracker. We don't want to bust it up. So we want to have this feeling of pressuring down on the front half of our foot with this slight lean forward. We can still play with this fore and aft positioning once we've gotten our spine and our lower body in a good position, just to see what is the range, what is an extreme range for us. I can roll back on my heels where my toes get really light, and it's just like, if I was on skis right now, I'd probably fall over. There's no question about that. I can be directly on top of my feet on my skis, and this feels comfortable, right? This is a pretty safe position. It's relaxing, and I'm not worried about falling over. The problem is our skis are going to be sliding forward. There's going to be this force that we're riding, and if I stay standing straight up like this, there's a good chance that the skis are going to go forward and my upper body is going to go backwards. So what do? We lean into it a little bit so that we can compensate for that ground force, or that sliding across the ground, I should say. This is no different than a walking posture where we're completely upright, a marathon running pace, a slight lean forward, right? We're trying to capitalize on gravity bringing us forward and just catching ourselves with our feet. A full sprint, I'm really getting down and low. So there's this range, again, this mid-range. It's not quite the same as the spine, because we're looking for the middle of that, or the squatting versus standing upright, because we're mostly going to be working with the range from upright to forward. And that's again because we are going to be moving, those skis are going to be moving underneath us, and we need to compensate with all of our body up here. Let's do that with skis. I'm going to show you pretty much the same drill that I demonstrated in the introduction to skate skiing video, but I'll do it from a bunch of different angles, show some variations, and show you how we can translate that, or how we can progress that into more of a skate skiing movement. I totally agree that these drills in this video aren't the coolest looking drills that you'll ever perform, nor do I look very cool performing them. But I want you to see them because they do illustrate how getting into this basic body position can help us to initiate our forward movement. Also note that the body position that I'm demonstrating in this particular video is only part of the equation. I'm only basically showing you what it looks like in profile or from the side. I haven't even gotten into the frontal view where I demonstrate the alignment of nose, knees, toes over each ski. But we're taking baby steps here, so just bear with me. After establishing that initial sliding or gliding forward just through body position, now I start to do a little bit of waddling. So I'm just kind of going from ski to ski. I'm not really skating here, but I am moving forward. And just with that basic position, as well as a little bit of weight transfer, we can move forward. I work with a lot of people that are new to sliding sports, and sometimes even just doing this can be a total struggle. What I do appreciate about doing this glide and waddle drill, however, is that it reminds me of how exhausting it is to ski from one edge to the other. When we're skate skiing, we want to land a flat ski, glide, and then roll onto our inside edge as we push off. We do not want to be just skating from edge to edge. But this is where many people begin their skate skiing journey, and I do find it important for people to develop that sense of where their edges hold and slip. So skating from edge to edge when you begin is part of the process, and eventually we'll cover that single leg balance and learning how to land a flat ski. If you're struggling to achieve that initial glide with that glide and recover exercise, you could just start using poles and double pull yourself to gain a little momentum and then begin that side to side waddle motion to keep you going forward. Just remember to keep the poles out of the snow during that part of the exercise. If you are struggling with that glide and recover initiation of forward movement, there could be a couple different reasons why. The first is that the V orientation of your skis might either be too wide or too narrow. You may not have the right edge angle on your skis, so it could be too severe or too relaxed. You might not be leaning forward enough. Again, remember to hinge at the ankles, not just bending over at the waist. And you might just not be putting enough pressure on those skis, but in order to put the pressure on the skis, you need to get the right edge angle, so just play with some ankle movement to dig those edges into the snow, because they will want to glide along their edge once you get all these other pieces in place. And this hopping drill is just kind of a agility drill. I wouldn't say it's a requirement at all to become a better skate skier, but if you can do this, give it a try. It's also good practice for landing a correct edge angle in the snow so that you don't just do the splits or come to a complete stop. So it can be fun. It also can be kind of tiring. So just use it if you want to, but know that it's not an absolute requirement if you want to become a better skate skier. Okay folks, that's all I got. I'm just taking this bit by bit, this whole skate ski series, so I apologize if it's a little bit slower pace than what you're hoping for, but I want to dot all the I's and cross all the T's on my way to progressing to more of the traditional techniques such as V1, V2, V2 alternate, that sort of thing. So it's just really important that you understand the importance of body positioning. A less than ideal body position is going to yield less than ideal technique. So we got to get that foundation, that body position, so that we can really capitalize on it and be able to move really effectively and efficiently over the snow. Thank you to all my subscribers, Patreon subscribers, people who tip via Venmo and PayPal. You guys are all amazing. Feel free to comment, ask any questions you want in the comment section below. I really enjoy speaking with all of you. This last weekend, I got a chance to meet a couple of different groups of folks in person, which was cool. It's always funny to me anyway that people come up to the help desk at the cross country center and like, are you the guy with the videos? I'm the guy with the videos. I'm a guy with the videos. It might be the one that you were watching. But yeah, I really enjoy meeting you guys in person and again, talking to you online. So thanks so much for all the support. Take care.